Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Place, taking a look at the I-220. Now, we looked at the I-210 a little while ago, and this was the Tier 6 version of the Russian light fighter, but today we're looking at the Tier 7, and I was promised it was going to get better, and this aircraft has delivered. In a lot of ways, having these 20mm cannons, 4 of them mounted in the nose, has resulted in very consistent results. The maneuverability is on par with that of the Mustang series, 10-second turn time, but it feels a little bit more nimble. I think that there's some hidden stats that we're not seeing that allow this aircraft to get just a little bit more turning capability out of it. And with the 420mm cannons mounted in the center line, like we said with the FJ1, give a surprising amount of accuracy when it comes to taking out targets. What we're doing here is a very careful process of target selection. We do not want to engage a heavy just to have another aircraft on our tail. I'm taking my time looking for bots to go after since we are on the offensive and in invasion mode. And then I see this heavy gunning straight through the middle of our pack, and I decide I'm going to focus him down. But if you're looking at the mini-map, you'll note that there's a triangle directly behind me, and that's where that incoming fire is coming from. It is another heavy aircraft. So I make a bit of a maneuver here, try and get that aircraft to turn. It looks like I have a friendly on his tail, so I decide I'm going to join in and try and get some decent hits on this aircraft as I chase him down to lower altitude. Not really where we want to be with an altitude fighter, but I'll deal with it for the time being. We managed to take that aircraft out, and it looks like he swapped places with that P-38 I was chasing initially when the F7F got on me. So role reversal, I'm going to put some heavy hits into him, but I do see that it looks like one of my allies is under attack from this F4U4, and like I've said, always help an ally out, even if it is a bot. So the nice thing about these cannons is I am running a Marksman 2 setup on this aircraft, and they can pump out quite a bit of damage very, very quickly, but they also overheat rapidly. So this is why I decided to do Marksman 2. I wanted to make sure that those short bursts that I had available to me were going to be able to kill a lot of targets outright in a single pass. And you can see here, once the guns are on target, they are more than capable to eliminate an enemy aircraft, and in a lot of engagements with a head-on against a fighter, not a heavy, I am able to kill them in a single pass and usually win that head-on engagement. I see this enemy coming right at me. I decide to divert and change my attention to the most dangerous threat, being this multi-role. I know I can outmaneuver him, so we're going to settle in and take him out. Now, this aircraft is coming straight at me. It is another light fighter. I am at low altitude. That is a Japanese Ki-84. He has two 30mm cannons and two 20mm cannons that I don't want to be taking, and you can see how much damage he just chunked away from me. I am chasing away one enemy, and there's that F7F has come back for me, and I have to turn. I immediately take damage to the wing, I repair it, and I'm going on a run. Now I'm kind of being focused down by 3 different aircraft right now, which I'm more than okay with, because that means that they are not engaging my ground attackers in this invasion mode, and me distracting them or killing them is going to give my allies some more time to go after some of the priority targets. Now, I see that I am getting the heavy is closing on my position. I'm hitting the X button to identify the nearest target, and then I saw by hitting the Alt key that it was a heavy, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to outrun him, so I figured I'd turn and do a last stand against the Ki-84, but those 30mm cannons made short work of me. Now we're going to respawn and see if we might be able to take the fight back to the enemy, hopefully putting ourselves in a more advantageous position. Learning from my mistake, I would like to stay at altitude this time because that is where our strength is. Now clearly dragging those guys out of the fight was able to assist our team in taking not 1 but now 2 sites from the enemy, giving us more time on the battle clock and allowing us to be able to continue to focus down the enemy. You also see at the top the ticker for how many respawns are left. We have 10, well 9 now, and the enemy only has 2 available. So our air-to-air endeavors are helping out the team. It just takes a little bit longer to show itself until they start losing aircraft and the ability to come back into the battle. You saw how quickly I was able to gain altitude, very similar to what we saw in the FJ1 as well as the P51H videos, going into a straight vertical climb using our boost to get the best bang for our buck. I'm focusing down the 0. There was that single pass kill we were talking about. Those cannons took him out outright. It looked like we may have rammed, but by keeping those guns on target and not faltering, we were able to take him out in a single push. Now we're coming up against this Corsair. I know I can endure his damage, and I am able to take him out again in a single pass. Now, watch out for these bot heavies. He will not turn, and he will ram me. Now, here we are caught up with the same twosome from the beginning of the match, the F7F and the P38. So I got to keep an eye on that P38 because he can catch me. There is a multi-roll behind me, but I am moving away from him, so I am okay with that. Now I'm going to turn around and see who is shooting at me. There it is. There's that multi-roll. It's a Yak 9U. Single pass, took him out. Now I took a little bit of damage there, but that was a combination of latency from some of his guns because he does have a nasty 45mm if I recall. Now I'm engaging in a dogfight against the P51D. Now I said this aircraft felt more maneuverable, but Mustang shouldn't be as maneuverable as I am, so how is he managing this? Well, it's where he lives. He lives at this altitude and he has a little bit of a better performance on us, and he may have specced out into maneuverability stats, which is entirely possible. Now you'll see that that Mustang continues to be a factor in the future as he has an incredible game this match, and my hat's off to him. We lost that engagement, but as you can see, we still have 2 respawns left and the enemy is down to only 5 aircraft. So now we got to get back in there and try and eliminate what's left of the enemy opposition. And we still have a flight of ground attackers moving from a recently taken garrison, moving into the airfield. So let's get over there and see if we can give them a hand. Again, the straight vertical climb, getting to where our altitude performance is best, and then leveling the aircraft off, trying to retain as much of that speed as we can. We're going to start building up the boost here, and every once in a while I'll tap it, making sure I have some to spare for the next engagement. For the modules I have on this aircraft, I do have the gun sight on board because 20mm cannons need to hit their targets, so we put that on here. We also have on the engine tuning in order to increase the bang for our buck out of this boost. And the last slot I'm still debating. I put on lightweight airframe because I felt like Russian aircraft were slightly more maneuverable, but I may have been putting a false conception on this aircraft. Sorry, focusing on what we're doing next. So you see that there's this 0 here focusing on my enemy. I want to go in and help him out as soon as possible. Fortunately, I hit the edge of my keyboard there, so I could not get my gun swung around on him. So I'm going to opt for a straight vertical climb in order to get some separation, because if that 0 decide to come after me, he cannot perform above 5,000 feet, I think is kind of his ceiling. So by taking him out of his comfort zone, we could have made him stall out, and then we could have dove back down on him at our leisure. There's only 2 enemies left, and what I'm doing here is I'm holding down the right mouse button, moving my cursor, that dot in the middle of the screen, around, and I'm hitting my center mouse wheel and clicking it down. That's how you can actually cue a target. I was able to see his name by hitting the Alt button, and then I hit F4 in order to identify him as the priority target, since he is the only player left and is doing a very good job, and he could possibly carry his team to victory here. Now fortunately he's on low health. We're able to kill him in a single pass. There's 1 enemy left here, this Key. Oh, we remember this Key 84. He took us out last time. And fortunately my team is able to eliminate him, and that was a hard-fought battle, very close match, and a good battle for both sides. Why invasion mode do you haunt me on my Monday morning? HH from Spearhead. I have a feeling he hit the wrong key there as the G and the H are next to each other. But Spearhead had a spectacular battle, and we'll see that when we go back and look at the end results screen. He managed to rack up 15 total air kills, and unfortunately, with this invasion mode, it feels like no matter how hard you try, you still manage to get a loss sometimes, and I am sorry, man. You clearly played better than the rest of us, but I'll more than gladly take my times 2 multiplier on a nearly 12,000 combat score, or sorry, personal score match. As you saw there, he was well over 1,500 or 15,000, so he did a fantastic job. Absolutely great, and I'm really impressed with his flying that he had in that P-51. I wish I was that good at my P-51s, especially back on the D. The guns you get here are 4 cannons, upgraded from the 2 that you could have possibly gotten on your previous aircraft, the 210. Slight damage output increase, as well as fire rate increase, and a little bit of extra range. But all in all, it's going to be more the same. I got the guns first, but you could probably opt for the airframe and the engines first and see that you'd have just as much success. This will be the last time you have a 420mm cannon available on your aircraft. Things are going to get a little bit more inconsistent in the future. You can see the next aircraft is the I-250. Then we have the MiG-9 and then the MiG-15, and all of them are going to be a set of 23mm with a 37mm mounted on the airframe, and this is going to be consistent for the next 3 aircraft. So we're going to have to get settled in with a weird eclectic style of guns. So having on here Marksman 2 is going to help us out a lot when it comes to getting all of those cannons to hit on target. 37 can be very nasty to chunk away the enemy, but the consistency of the 23s is also pretty spectacular as well. I just wish they all flew the same. From what I can tell, they behave very different to one another. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all on the next one. If you liked what you saw, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and if you didn't like what you saw, please let me know in the comments section, and I'll catch you on the next one.